Hey, I think anyway. Actually, I got to do this. Used to have a multiple screens, so this is kind of screwy. All right, so just kind of getting a jump on the college recruiting scene. Like I've said a couple times now, it's not the goal for everybody on the team, but for those of you that have that goal, we want to make sure that we're giving you the opportunity to get yourself set up for colleges to potentially look at you and start the communication process with coaches, which is the rules are different for each level. We'll kind of go over that as well. So as my only attendee on this re-recording, please let me know if you have any questions, and I'll try and cover as much as I can. This took about half an hour before, so I'll try and keep it around there. So I'll kind of talk about the recruiting landscape a little bit, some tips and tricks type things that I've learned so far, and then we'll go through actual social media examples, which you guys are gotten a great jump on, and then we'll talk about sports recruits as well. Okay. So I'm a big PowerPoint guy. I love them, which is weird. And now I don't have these big sales meetings anymore. It's all by stupid Zoom. But I love building presentations. It was a big part of my college program. So anyway, I like visuals. So some of my favorite players, Sis Bates, one of the best shortstops in the world, played for UW and continues to play at the professional level. Okay, so just kind of a quick agenda of what we're going to talk about today. So different school options when it comes to playing in college, and what those different levels are and what the differences are. Current recruiting landscape, kind of talk about upcoming changes that are coming as well, both in the JUCO world and the transfer portal, NIL, all that sort of stuff. Best communication tools for reaching out to schools and or coaches, social media examples, overview of sports recruits, which is the recruiting program. It's the #1 program in the industry. They don't just do softball. They do all sorts of different sports, but they explain themselves as kind of a LinkedIn for college recruiting, if that makes sense. There's a lot of different options out there when it comes to this sort of program, or I don't know the right word for it. There's a lot of options when it comes to this sort of stuff, but they sponsor NFCA, which I'm heavily involved in. That's the convention I was at. So I wanted to support them as well. It seems to be the best one around that everybody talks about. Kind of a plan for Vegas. Touch on that a little bit. What I'm doing for you as a coach to help you out with that, and then what you should be doing to plan for that as well. As Swaggy is a sophomore and ahead of the freshman as far as timelines go, but kind of had a plan for that, because I can give you all these tools. I'm giving you girls all these tools to make this happen. But just like we talk about in practice, it's up to you to actually make it happen and put in the work. Because it's not going to be me doing all this stuff. It's going to be you guys. I'm just giving you the tools. And then skipping this on the redo. Okay, Taylor Pleasance. Love watching her. Yeah. Okay, so overall, there's about 1,700 college softball programs in the U.S., which is quite a few if you think about it. Figure 20 to 25 girls per team. That is a lot of girls that get to play college softball from the freshman to grad years as far as eligibility goes. I mean, there's some girls, because of the COVID nonsense, that played 6 years, like Brooke Nelson's a good example of that. Bonnie Lake's own. But it's a very, very small number of players that get to this level. When you think about every girl that plays softball in the country and then other countries as well, it's a very select few. I posted something on Instagram the other day about how this pool continues to get smaller as you get older. You go from a lot of girls playing t-ball, the number drops all the way up to 14U, and the biggest drop I've seen is this year in 16U, where there's not a lot of teams and there's very few crappy teams. Like, girls that are still playing at this level are good, and they're still playing, or there's a reason they're still playing. It's because they can continue to play at this level and get better. So once you hit that 16U, it feels like a lot of people drop off. There were a lot of crappy teams in 14s, not in 16s, especially in USA and all the different organizations we're playing in. Okay, so out of that 1,700, there's 291 division colleges, which is a lot, and that's broken down, from the Power 5 conferences, from the LSUs, the Bamas, the Oklahomas, the UWs, all the way down to smaller colleges that you don't even think are Division One, right? So it's 291 colleges in the country that are considered Division One. Division Two, 290 plus. Couldn't get an accurate number on the interwebs, but 290 plus they're Division Two. Division Three, there's about 400 plus. The college that I was able to visit at the conference was University of Dallas. They're a D3 school. All the girls are taller than me, which as I've learned is going to happen, unfortunately. But they look like athletes and they're D3 players, right? So about 400 plus in D3. NAIA is about 195. I think the only local one, I don't know this for sure, but like PLU is an NAIA school, but it's just a different division. And then JUCOs, junior college, there's about 438 junior colleges around the country. So that's kind of the breakdown there. Jordy Ball, um, she now plays for Nebraska. I couldn't find a good picture of her in a Nebraska jersey because she tore her ACL, I believe, in her first pitching performance for them last season. But 100% intensity and attitude and swagger, and I like that, especially in pitchers. So kind of thinking about what school is right for you. This was a common theme when I asked all these college coaches, what should my girls be looking for? And more importantly, the girls that had recently graduated and now are trying coaching, I wanted to say, hey, what should my girls, you've been through this process, you've been there 4 or 5 years, what should they be looking for in a school? And ultimately, you want to find the best fit for all of your goals, right? Say you start to play for a school and you get hurt. Well, you still got to go to class, right? So what do you want to be? What do you want to do after the softball career is over, right? Nurse, whatever, right? You want to think about that. And that's what you should be kind of looking for. And we'll kind of get into that once we get in the sports recruits platform. But what's your number one goal for going to college and then after college? Okay. Pick a program, not a coach, which I think is the opposite of select world. At least I hope so. But coaches move around all the time. Players move around all the time, but you want to focus on the program. What kind of program is best going to suit what type of person you are, what type of player you are, and the school, of course, is important as well. These moving pieces move around all the time. Any coach really that's been around the college game for a while has been at 5, 6 schools, right? So don't pick a program, not a coach. Culture is everything, which I harp on quite a bit. But that's true for this as well. There was one coach that they had offered a junior, very, very talented, and just so happened to see her play in a tournament when she was a senior in fall. And she had a shit attitude and was not a good teammate and was pouting and stuff, and they crossed her off the list, rescinded the offer. Okay. Culture is everything, and that includes parents, right? So again, put it on the Instagram the other day, but a coach was saying, it was a baseball coach, but same idea. If he can identify who the parent of a player is very, very quickly, that's not good, right? You want the parent to be supportive, but not yelling all the time and making it about them. So culture is important, and both the player and the parents feed into that. Distracted me with the chat. Okay. Current roster. Squirrel. Current roster makeup matters. So if you want to play middle infield, give that as an example. Who's currently on the roster? Do they have a senior at both positions right now, 2 juniors right behind them, 2 sophomores right behind them? Like the makeup of the current roster is definitely important for your particular goals. Now, does that mean you could go there and play the outfield? No. Could you go there and get moved? Absolutely, right? You're not going to stick to one particular thing, which is another thing I've talked to some people about. But trying to find a spot is important, but also kind of look at their roster, right? If they are stacked with pitchers and you might not get that much play time, are you willing to wait it out to get your opportunity? Jari Kennedy, best pitcher on the planet. Uh, Rumor has it she got $1 million in NIL money to go to Texas Tech this year. The Stanford head coach was in one of my classes, next table over, taking notes. They actually knocked out the LSU and Duke in the tournament in the World Series last season. So that was awkward because those coaches from LSU and Duke were leading this class, but then they brought up Njari transferring, and I think they were even. So anyway, great picture. Current recruiting landscape. So the NCAA court ruling is big. People don't really understand how that's going to make things work. So the court made it so it used to be a scholarship cap in all sports in college, right? It was like 85 for football. You could have that many scholarship athletes, but of course you also have, walk-ons and whatnot. But the ruling changed where it's a roster size limit rather than a scholarship limit. And what that means for softball, that allowed them to expand their rosters possibly up to 25 players. Does that mean everybody's going to be on a full ride? No, definitely not. And should also mention that Division II and Division III don't have athletic scholarships. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about grades. But they can have up to 25 players on their roster. So a D1 school can absorb more players that might have ended up at a lower level or a lower division. They can absorb them up to the roster, offer them a roster spot with the promise of an opportunity to be able to start and whatnot. But nobody really knows how that's going to affect things. Is it going to be, how many schools are actually going to have 25 people on their roster? How many schools can afford that, right? It's more cost, it's more travel, it's more uniforms, blah, 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 right? So how many schools at all levels are going to be able to, take advantage of that outside of the Oklahomas and UWs and all those, right? NIL, name, image, likeness ruling was 2 years ago, I think, 2 or 3, where college athletes can make money off of their name, image, or likeness. Great for football players, I think. They can get, a lot of money. Njari, like I said, rumor has it, she got $1 million to go to Texas Tech. But from the softball perspective, and Coach Tar from UW rants about this, it's tough because like UW has Montlake Futures as their NIL fund. If you just straight contribute to that or buy something off of their website or whatever, it just goes into a fund. And normally that fund diverts money to football because that's the big money maker. So unless you donate or buy specifically something softball related, it's not going to go to the softball program. So even though college players are getting paid now, which in football has kind of shifted. It's not just the SEC paying people anymore, it's everybody. We kind of saw what happened with that in the college football world this year. But for softball, it makes it tough because it's tough to do direct funds out of these big NIL funds that each college has to softball specifically. Also, it kind of makes the smaller programs have more of a disadvantage money-wise because these bigger programs can offer players money to play for them when smaller programs can't. Yeah. Transfer portal changed the recruiting game. So it used to be you had to sit out. If you change colleges as a college athlete, you had to sit out a year, and they changed that. So now you can transfer and play. You can play college ball 5 years, and this is any sport, and play for 5 different schools. Do I think that's a great idea? No. But if your number one goal is to just sports related and try and reach the mountaintops or do whatever, you're allowed to do that now. So the portal is only open for about a month around June. You saw UW lost about half their roster right after the College World Series last year because all these players can leave. So like Ruby Malon, I think pronounced her last name right, left, went to OSU. She was their stud pitcher, right? So it's kind of changed the way the game is played and the college experience in general, but also a more something that we want to pay more attention to. So now you have coaches with these big rosters who can either take a chance on an incoming freshman straight out of high school and hope that they're going to be good, or you can go to the portal and find sophomores, juniors, seniors that have been there, done that, and have a better track record, and it's less of a chance that they have to take on a player. So the general idea is that there's going to be fewer players chosen straight out of high school because of this. I just had an interesting conversation with a guy the other day about baseball and put a different perspective on it, and especially the JUCO ruling, which I'll get to next. But it's going to kind of change the way recruiting out of high school is looked at. And And it's also going to delay it as well because the portal, like I said, doesn't open until June, July, which also happens to be the heavy travel season and heavy recruiting season for colleges. So it's kind of screwed everything up. So that's why there's a lot of uncertainty about what's going to go on in the college softball world. I think my family just came home and it's about to get loud in here because they're loud. But anyway, so the JUCO court ruling happened a couple weeks ago. So the NCAA ruling, as far as roster size goes, happened in July. The JUCO court ruling happened a couple weeks ago. Oh, geez. Happened a couple weeks ago, and it was one particular player in one particular case. It's a football player, but a court ruled that if you play at a junior college, it does not affect your eligibility as a college athlete. So in theory, you could go play at a junior college for 2 years and then go to a 4-year university and play another 4 years, because you get 4 years of eligibility generally, and have a 6-year career. Now, as of right now, it's only that one particular player, but the thought is eventually that will, whether it's a year or two down the line, happen for everybody. So it's going to be interesting to keep an eye on that and see what happens with that. Bonnie Lake's own, Brooke Nelson. Okay, so best communication tools for communicating with schools and coaches that you're interested in. Social media, big one. Okay, so Twitter, I'll always call it Twitter, it's not X, and Instagram. Those are the two major ones. Now, some families may have the parent run the athlete's profile. Some of them have their own kid run it, but that's up to you from a safety perspective. So just those two are the ones that are highlighted as the big communication. Sports recruits, what we just signed the whole team up for. Again, we'll get into that here in a second, but that was a common theme. I believe all three girls that were on here the other day used it to help get recruited. And it was another one that was brought up as a good platform to reach out to coaches just from all the options it has. Email. So every coach has their email listed on the website. So again, how much work do you want to put in? It's how much you're going to get out of it. Some of them respond to you and some don't. What are you doing? Oh. She's just chasing the dog, not a chicken. So we're good. So you can find their email on the college website. So some of them might reach out or respond, some might not. There's different rules around that as well. As an example, I've emailed Coach Tara at UW twice and haven't heard anything back. She gets a lot of emails, get it. On the other hand, there was a speaker, Rick Freeman out of Southeastern Louisiana. He gave us a really good presentation at the convention I was at. Emailed him the other day, like, hey, wanted to thank you. The stuff you preach is the same stuff I am, and just culture is big, blah blah blah. And he responded within like 3 hours. So don't get discouraged if you email a coach and they don't respond. There was also coaches that said, I can't respond to everything, but if I have somebody that's emailing me once a week following up, hey, here's how I did it at this tournament, I'll just, sometimes I remember their name when I'm at a tournament, and just trying to put yourself out there as far as your name goes. Okay, so I set this up on, this is my Instagram just because it was easier than creating a fake player, but I want everybody to have the same bio, right? Same, it'll be different for you, obviously, not just the name, school, team name, spelled out like this, because this is how we'll be registered at every tournament, and this is how we are on Game Changer. You can't see my cursor probably, but spelled out like that so you're easier to find, and then what positions you play. When you list positions on anything, go your primary first, okay? And then you can add a link. This one is for our organization, but obviously this would be your individual player sports recruit link here. I would recommend, and so you've already done it, to have one softball profile and one personal profile, and keep them separate would be my recommendation. I actually just created a coach Instagram today, so I could be more I don't know, motivational. And also my good buddy's wife made a comment to him that I post more about other people's kids than my own. So I'm gonna have a personal Instagram and then a coaching Instagram, but for you as a player, have a personal one and a softball one. That way You can't post something goofy and it's taken the wrong way, if that makes sense. All right. I believe that's it for this. Sure is. Okay. Any questions so far?
Do we want her number on the profile? I didn't see that number spot for
Oh,
number
you
on.
know what? I didn't put that on there.
Cool.
I don't know.
Maybe after their position or something.
TBD.
Okay.
The only, I would say no. And the reason behind that is you're going to have a different number in school than you are playing for me, most likely.
Okay.
For story,
What did you say?
the story to change.
Oh, she's starting to mess with hers right now.
Yeah.
Job swags. Okay.
She's all about action.
Yeah.
And the JUCO stuff, actually, you touched on the transfer portal and the dates like June and July and stuff. And something I had heard similar to that was that coaches didn't weren't spending much time before June and July and on like high school kids or even just any recruiting, traveling for recruiting or anything like that. And then one thing that they said was the they go so put your dates in for June and July and be in Colorado. And I think what they're alluding to is the two big tournaments in Colorado.
Mhm.
Is that something that they talked about a little bit there?
So I would disagree with that because it's really fall and spring. So I'm already building our schedule for next season. Going to especially the PGF early Thanksgiving in California. It's the weekend before Thanksgiving because there's a lot of college coaches that go there. So it's really just a fall season, and then everybody, unless you're crazy and want to play in the hub in December,
Yeah.
um, it's really fall season and then summer season with spring, obviously for high school. So they're still doing stuff all year round, or their assistants are. I mean, they have a lot of assistant and associate coaches, right? They're doing a lot of this too. It's not just the head coach all the time.
Gotcha.
So yeah, they're doing it fall and summer season both.
When would you have her start reaching out to college coaches?
Jumping ahead. I'll cover that here shortly.
Sorry. I didn't know. I thought we were all into full-on questions and answers now.
No, no, no. See, this is why I needed somebody to watch this with me, so I didn't just talk it myself and assume that I was answering everything. So we're good.
No, you're good.
All right, so just kind of touch on social media stuff, then we'll get into sports recruits and also kind of game plan for Vegas, which is in 10-ish days now. So just kind of go over, my screen's still sharing, right? Thumbs up.
We're looking at the Washington Avengers
Perfect.
new wise
Thanks for the thumbs
Instagram.
up. Got it. Okay. So just kind of wanted to go over what I'm doing for the team. And there's a reason behind it. So I got my degree in marketing. I'm big on this stuff, and I like looking at the way other people set things up and kind of nitpick it a little bit because I'm anal about some stuff. But trying to put our team / program eventually in the best light we can. So here's our profile. If you look at every single one of these pictures, Swaggy and Lily probably both liked all of them, but just kind of game related, behind the scenes related stuff we're doing, not just the team stuff. Some of my stuff that I'm big on, but just kind of everything we're doing. There's a reason for that. Just to make it look like, not make it look like, but show everybody that we're legit. This is essentially what I'm doing. There aren't too many other teams that are doing as much. Ooh, break. Doing as much as we are as far as social media stuff. Maybe Matlick, but she's a professional. Oh, just reloaded. Okay, so behind the scenes stuff we're doing, highlighting players, outside of just softball, right? Like this little football player here, Riley winning athlete of the week or whatever. Like it's important stuff to highlight. Okay, I do also have web gems, which is where I stick all the highlights that we have. When players change their names or create a new profile, that's frustrating, but we'll sort that out because now everything for number 18, Eve is Swaggy as mentioned and not the new one, but I'll get over that. Okay, so I want to highlight this school. So this is a JUCO, one of the best junior college programs in the country. So 2022 and 24 national runner-ups. They made it to the championship game out of Waco. I was able to hear this coach speak a couple times. And down here he is. Won coaching staff of the year, national coaching staff of the year, the JUCO level. Really, really good dude. And also wanted to highlight the way they set up theirs. It's not a coincidence that, and I just wanted to find another team to highlight, and they are very similar to what I'm doing with our team. Also, because I like it when I get to say, see, I'm doing the right stuff. There's Sarah O'Brien from High Level Throwing. She's working with them as well, which is the same program that we use for throwing program. Sarah's going to be here. She went to UW. She'll be up here next week doing it in the clinic. Very, very good person and great instructor. But they're highlighting that they're using her program as well. Okay. That's Sarah's Instagram there, OB1. She follows them. Okay. So just want to kind of highlight that we're trying to do the same thing that some of these colleges are as well. Okay. So this is one of the girls, Mikan, that was on the call the other day. I don't like her bio, but each their own. Just nothing but highlights, right? Because it's her softball account, so nothing but highlights that she put on here. Easily rippable from Game Changer. If you've never done that, I can help you. One suggestion I would make as far as Game Changer highlights go, when you pull up a highlight, like you click on your name, go to videos and like double or whatever, excuse me, it'll leave about 10 seconds before the actual play. I would edit that down so you don't see like a ball in the dirt for ball one and then the play happens. Kind of make it tight where, pitcher's ready, you're ready to go, the play happens. All right. So try and edit that down a little bit. Look, this one highlights from Field and Everett where I hit myself in the leg. So this is kind of an example, right, of a girl that set up a softball specific thing with highlights only for her softball page. Okay. Mikan's awesome. She'll fight people. She got suspended. What can do. Okay. Getting into, oh, I had to pay a guy something for paintball today. So our Facebook page, this is by first letter of your first name. So Evelyn being front and center is not by design, but by accidents, just saying, okay? I know how things are. Got to put them in alphabetical order, got to do them by number or something. Anyway, so same idea. Our Instagram is linked to Facebook, so everything I post on Instagram first. Just side note, just to give you a peek into my life. There's one of the mutt dogs gonna start howling because he's trapped in his cage. There's a baby goat jumping around down here. I live in a zoo. But anyway, so highlights of what we're doing, highlighting you girls and all of that. The UW stuff, it's great to have those girls come in and they were awesome. Definitely different than Brooke last year. Brooke's more happy and positive and smiley. But it was great to see both, and the three of them were really good. I wanted to highlight that we did that, and then also that we as a program do that for players because we're tiny but mighty. Okay, so got all of our links here, link to Instagram, our sports recruits page, our game changer, and then our actual website. So trying to geez, so many distractions. Trying to continue to highlight what we're doing and then highlight you girls as well. Okay. That's about it for social media. Any questions as far as that stuff's concerned? I know you're all over it. Okay, good. Okay, so getting into sports recruits. So you guys have messed around with it a little bit, which is awesome. So this is my feed. So I see everything everybody does, essentially. Riley just did some work today, kind of favoriting a couple different colleges she was considering. And then I also see, scroll down, shut a mouse. Jocelyn's been doing stuff on here as well. So this is kind of cool too. So Reiki put her Grand Slam as a Another program player, but I'll let that slide. So Grand Slam. So there was a head coach. This community college is from New Jersey. He watched that video, and then I'm able to give it a little high five. I don't know what that does, but high five, buddy. Good job. So I see everything that happens. It's cool to see all the activity that's going on, and it allows me to follow up with coaches as well, because I can message them just like you guys can, say, hey, if you need any more info on this player, let me know. And then also I see how much you guys are doing too. So if there's ever a player that says, college coaches aren't responding, I'm not getting any offers, I don't know what's going on, I can see what you're doing. So if you're not doing anything and using this platform that we've given you, and that's kind of on you, bro. So yeah, I like that aspect of it for sure, because we can kind of see everything. And there's also, I don't know where it is, but there's you can pull up your player list and it'll show you how many messages they've sent. Now, if it's 3,000, let's talk about that as well, because we want to make these things personable, not just copy and paste, right? Be smart about that. And that's one of the things. No, I'll skip to that part. Okay. So click on club. Okay, it shows everybody so far that you all got the email. So Swaggy and Victoria, Breaky, Addie, Riley Johnson, Braylon, Faye, Mo, and Joss have all clicked on a thing and started building stuff. I think Reiki's is probably the most built out right now. So profile picture, highlights, school, other sports, all that stuff, GPA. So you got videos, personal statements, different schools and whatnot, and then positions, and then events you have coming up. So she must have just done this. So you can show what tournaments you're going to be in and which camps you're going to be in. This is pretty cool, I think. My freaking washing machine's making noise. What is going on in this house? Okay, so one thing I think is really cool about this platform is if you click on schools, I don't know if you guys have messed around with this or not. So the general consensus when I was looking into this program and I had 3 different video calls about it, what makes them really good at what they do. And this part right here, I think, is the best part, just from a narrowing down where you want to play perspective. But their advice was to follow or like or make a list of 30 schools that make sense for you. Now, 10 of those should be, hey, I really want to go here. I think I can do it. My grades are good. I'm a good enough player to play here. So 10 there. 10, they're kind of a reach. Like, hey, if I really get my act together and really turn it on, I think I might be able to get in here. I might not play as a freshman, but I think I can do it, right? And then 10 kind of safety schools where if everything goes wrong, you don't hear from anybody, you think you can make it into that school. Kind of safety is the key word there, right? So you get into the search thing, you can search by school name. Every college in the country is loaded in here. But just kind of give you an example. Have you guys messed around with this at all? No? Okay. So say you don't want to get too far away from your dad because you love him so much. You want to be on the West Coast somewhere. And academics, like your grades are good. You're not a 4.0 student, but you're all right. So kind of selective, we'll do that. And I'm picking these because I know which school I want to end up on the list that I want to talk about. And then say you want to do large school, 10 to 20,000 students. You don't feel, it's not going to be massive and you might get lost in the crowd, but it's not a tiny school either. Okay. And then majors, say you want to major in business. And obviously there's lots of different ones. You can open all these to break them down even further, more specific, but say you want to do business, right? So that's my favorite. Athletics, you can narrow it down by which level you want to play in. I'm not doing that for this example. You can do which conference they play in, all different ways to break it down, right? And then even roster needs. So if they posted them for 2025 grad year, they need, shortstop or whatever. You can even break it down by like that, but I'm not gonna do that for this exercise. So apply filters. Okay, so West Coast, selective, business major, okay, comes up with 7 different schools, right? So you got Western Washington, University of Oregon, University of Nevada, University of Hawaii, Southern Utah, Portland State, and California State University in Chico. I'm going to click on Portland State. Good program. So you select the school here, Portland State University. It gives you info about it. What division are they? They're D1, which I didn't know. Playing the Big Sky Conference, committed athletes. So you can kind of see what kind of players they've taken. So, and that's off this platform, obviously. So, you know, Mia Martinez, she's a 2025 grad. Scarlett McEwen, 2024, so she's already there. You can kind of see what players they've taken in the past. So that's kind of neat. A little bit more about their athletics. Meadow is really great. I got to meet her last January at the NFCA clinic. Really, really cool lady. Megan Romero is one of our assistant coaches, who's Sid Romero's sister, who played for UW as well. Talks about the school, or shows you the school profile, enrollment by gender, retention rate, all that, admissions, cost, in-state, out-of-state, room board, all that. Some majors. So there's so much info that they already loaded for you. Okay. So if you say, you know what, that might be a good fit for me. That's my 10 middle schools that I think I could make. So you want to reach out to them. Well, you can click on their website here. Takes you right to the softball page of the college's website. Okay. Or you click on the little paper airplane thing here. Opens a new window. See this thing where you are sending a message to the head coach and all of the assistant coaches. Okay. So subject, type whatever message you want to tell them. Hey, I'm Evelyn. I'm pretty cool. You should look at my profiles. I'd use more words than that, but okay. So that's pretty neat. Okay. I hate phone monitor. Okay, and then our just page on here, our banner, which I'm getting printed this week, will have a QR code to this. I have a QR code making website now that I pay for, which is crazy. But so this is our page. I'll go here. It'll list all of you. If I update this, I bet there'll be more profile pictures. Sure is. Okay, so this is what our team page will look like. And it'll show all of our various videos that have been uploaded. So Victoria and Reiki, I think, are the only ones that have updated stuff. So roster and all that. Okay, so that's pretty neat in my opinion. Okay. Any questions on sports recruit stuff so far? I know you messed around with it a little bit.
When you're emailing coaches, who do you like, do you just address all of them, or how do you do it? Like if you've got like the head coach and 4 assistants, you go, hello coaches, or is it hello, Mr. blah blah blah, Mrs. blah blah blah, stuff like that.
Personally, I do them all. I mean, the assistant coaches are going to be on the road as well, especially with the portal stuff and how much ground they have to cover. Obviously more local, like I would guess Portland State it's going to be at, our more Northwest showcase style tournaments that we do in June and July. But might as well do them all, right? They're going to get a ton of messages anyway. So just try and show that you're, continuing to reach out. There was an example, I forget who it was, that gave that, there was a player that emailed him once a week. And you may feel like that's a lot, but he happened to be at a game looking at somebody else, said, hey, wait a minute, and grabbed the flyer, which we'll have and go over here in a second, and said, oh, I don't remember that name. Yeah, she'd been emailing me, and, made that connection. So don't be afraid to keep emailing them again, even if they don't respond. And that's one of the things that the 3 girls said the other day is likelihood is they're not going to respond at all, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're not seeing it and it's not making an impact. Okay. So talking about Vegas in 10 days, first showcase camp. So camp on Friday. And this is, if you click on the event itself, this is kind of the homepage for it. I think you've already done. Schedule events. I don't know why they haven't freaking released our schedule. Everybody paid months ago. Give me a schedule for crying out. I got stuff to plan. But so Friday and then Saturday, 2 games Saturday, 2 games Sunday, 1 game Monday. So this is the main thing here. I don't know if you guys looked this or not, but if you click on camp, you can see who's coming. So there's quite a few players from the Northwest that I know that are on this list. So that's pretty neat. A lot of people in that camp for sure. Okay. But more importantly, if you go to click on colleges, it shows you all the colleges that have requested to work or attend. So the dirty secret of these showcases is USA Preps, Triple Crown, whoever it is, pays coaches to attend. Because if you can say, hey, I've got 101, I think it is, in this one, coaches attending, you're more likely to get teams to sign up. But they do stick around for games. They're part of the camp and all that stuff. So it lists out who has requested to be here. And this is either at the camp or at the games. I just want to highlight a couple of these that have caught my eye. So Tracy Barrett from PLU is going to be there. And then there's one school I wanted to show you. So lots of different levels as well. Oh, Linfield. So Linfield's in Oregon. I just like their website, to be honest. Um, Pretty cool. Cool logo. They're in Oregon. Really good job on their website. Some schools, not so much, right? So you can go to their roster, see what kind of players they have. Good team picture. How many potential athletes are on each of these teams, right? 10, about 24 on that one, 23, something like that. Okay, so you can see their the roster. Kyla Cross from Bonnie Lake, went to Bonnie Lake High School. And the other one, Bryn Nelson, Brooke's little sister, again from Bonnie Lake as well. You can click on their bio, see what type of player they are, what they're into, what their stats are. It's pretty cool. So this is one of those examples where you girls have some work to do, right? Are any of these colleges going to these showcases that we're going to on your list? Should you reach out? Have you already? That sort of thing. Say, hey, I'm thinking about going to Lincoln University in Oakland. Not that that's on your list, but hey, let me reach out to this guy, shoot him my schedule. Here's my sports recruit link. Just kind of start that communication process through sports recruits or straight up through email. It's up to you. But this is where you put in the work right here on this page. How am I going to have an opportunity to introduce myself and get noticed by these guys? Okay. As far as that's concerned, so showcase flyers. I spent way too much time making these, and I'll probably tweak them. Oh, like this one. The year's not in red. But I created this myself. This is modeled after our 16U Charlton team that they've done at showcases. So this will be in a real estate box hanging off the back of the backstop. So if a college coach comes to one of our games, says, hey, that number 18 looks pretty good, want to know some more info about her, you get one of our team flyers, scans a QR code, that goes to your sports recruit profile. Okay, so that's how that works. As far as an individual thing goes, same idea, but individual players. These are more for your camps, especially the Q&A section or the meet and greet at the end, which is the last session of the day. You see a coach, you want to find this person in particular, introduce yourself, say, here's my flyer, check out my profile. And honestly, I'm probably going to get rid of program profile because I don't think they'll be updated by then. And then I will have your sports recruits QR code, which will go to your specific profile page for that. So each player has one of those. And it is weird using your real names, I gotta say. It's like just saying Morgan Taylor is weird. Like she's in trouble. Okay. Last thing I wanted to touch on, this was a question on the questionnaire. So NCAA, I think Tracy, we've talked about this before, maybe not. But NCAA clearinghouse number. So if you want to play at a D1 or D2 school, you have to go through the clearinghouse just from an athletic eligibility and an academic eligibility perspective. There's a local player that got a full ride to Montana, and her high school screwed up one of her classes and she ended up having to go home. So this is super important stuff if you want to play at the D1 or D2 level. Different options. So you can start a free profile page account. Who should create this account? Basically everybody that's interested in playing in college. D1 and D2 it's required, but you never know what's going to happen. So you can at least start a free profile one. Option 2 is basically for international students. And then option 3 is the full $100 one, where you know you're going to go to a D1, D2 school. You need to start uploading transcripts and making sure you're cleared to play. Or if you're going to take an official visit, or you're going to sign a national letter of intent with them, you have to be in the clearinghouse. And that's the question on our program profile page. What's your clearinghouse number? Once you register, you'll get a number. This is for all sports. So you don't need that in D3 or JUCO. NAIA has their own, very, very similar. But this is the NAIA page, clearinghouse. Same idea. So if you want to if you're going to go to NAIA school, you have to make sure that you're eligible to play, because it would really, really suck to get everything. You thought everything was good, and then you show up ready for first day of classes and you're not eligible. Okay. That is pretty much all I had. So in the first one, this is where we brought the 3 girls in and they talked a little bit and answered questions and whatnot. But trying to give you as much information as I can. It was a big learning experience for me. I didn't have my note page with me. I forgot it at my office, but yeah, trying to get you guys going on the right track.
That's awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you guys don't have any questions, close this.